Hello friends, welcome to the session on Python programming. In this session, we'll be discussing about file handling in the Python. In this session, we will see what we mean by a file in the Python, what are the different types of files available in the Python. We will also see what are the different modes called as the file modes, how to open a file, how to close a file, and also we will see how we can perform the operations such as reading and writing to a file. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the channel so that you can watch many other educational videos on the various topics in the subjects of electronics and computer science. So let us start the session with the question what we mean by file in a Python. One can easily find that whenever we go for any real life problem, then we need to handle a large amount of data. And whenever we need to handle a large amount of data, then it is not possible to store the data in memory only. And we need some hard disk drive or pen drive in order to store the data. Whenever the data is being stored on such devices, then this data is being stored in the form of the files. So one can say that a file is just nothing but a collection of related data that is being stored on the disk. So it is possible that you can write program in Python, and through the programs, either you can read the data from the file or you can write the data to the file. As far as Python is concerned, one can easily find that there are two types of data files. The first one is called as the text file, and another one is called as the binary file. So text file will consist of the human readable characters, and these characters can be displayed or can be opened by using any text editor. On the other hand, binary files are made up of binary numbers or non-human readable characters and symbols, and therefore we need some special program in order to access the content of the binary files. So text file can be understood as a sequence of characters where the characters can be alphabets, numbers, or any other special symbols that are being provided on the keyboard. So one can say that any file which has an extension such as .txt or .py or .csv, all can say that are the examples of the text files. So whenever the content of the file are stored, then the content of the file are always stored in the sequence of bytes, and every byte will consist of zeros and ones. And whenever the data is being stored, then while storing the data, some encoding scheme has to be used by the computer system. So there are several encoding schemes available, such as ASCII or Unicode. And it is possible that whatever the characters that we type in, those characters will be encoded into ASCII code or Unicode, and then they are stored in the form of the bytes. So whenever we open any text file, then the text editor has to translate these ASCII values, which are stored in the form of zeros and ones, and then it will show us the corresponding character so that we can read that character. So for example, if the ASCII value such as 1000001 is being stored, and when it is read by the text editor, then actually the text editor will display the letter A, because for the character A, the ASCII value is decimal 65, or in binary, it is 1000001. You will find that each line of the text file is being terminated by a special character, and this character is being called as the end of line character. So in Python, by default, the end of line character is just nothing but a new line character, and this new line character is being written as \n. So the content in the text file are usually separated by the white spaces, such as spaces and tabs, or comma and tab, and these are commonly used to separate the values in the text file. Now let us understand how to open a file in Python and how to close a file. In order to open a file in the Python, we need to make the use of open function. And the syntax for the open function is like this: file object, which is equal to open, in the bracket we write file name, comma, access mode. So this function returns a file object called file handle, which is stored in the variable file object. We can use this variable to transfer the data, or we can use this variable to read the data. That is, we can perform read and write operation by calling the function defined in the Python's input output module. So if the file does not exist, then the above statement will create a new empty file and will assign it the name as it is being specified in the statement. So we need to specify some file name. So file name can be any valid variable name, can be specified as the file name. The file object has certain attributes that tells us the basic information about the file. So for example, file.close will return true if the file is closed. Otherwise, it will return us a false. File.mode will return us the access mode in which the file is being opened. File.name will return us the name of the file. So whenever you want to open a file, then you need to give two parameters to this open function. First is the file name. Use appropriate file name as per your requirement. And then you have to specify the access mode. So file mode can be R, in which the file is open in the read-only mode, and the file offset position will be beginning of the file. Another option is RB, where the file open is in binary file and it is only read-only mode, it is open, and the file offset position will also be the beginning of the file. So whenever we are reading any file, then always the offset position will be to the beginning of the file so that we can read the file from the start. Another option is R plus or plus R, which will open the file in both read and write mode. If you want to write into the file, you can make the use of file mode option W, where the file is opened in the write mode. If the file already exists, all the content will be overwritten. So you need to take care whether the file is already in existence or not. Otherwise, this mode will erase all the content. If the file doesn't exist, then the new file will be created and the file offset position will be beginning of the file. WB plus or plus WB will open a file in the read, write, and binary mode. And if the file is already exist, then the content will be overwritten. Otherwise, a new file will be created. If you are already having any file which is created, and if you want to add something into the file, then you can make the use of append mode A, where the file, if already exists, then at the end of the file, the new content will be added. If the file doesn't exist, then in that case, a new file will be created. Another option is A plus or plus A, where this file mode will open the file in the append and read mode. And if the file doesn't exist, then in that case, it will create a new file and the file offset position will be to the end of the file. So once you are done with the read and write operations on the file, then it is always necessary to close a file. So Python will provide a close function in order to close a file. So whenever you want to close a file, then you can write it in this form, file object dot close function. Now let us understand how to open a file so that we can write to a file. For writing to the file, first of all, we need to open it in the write mode, or it is also possible that you can open it in the append mode. If we open an existing file in the write mode, then the previous data will be erased and the file object will be positioned to the beginning of the file. In the append mode, the new data will be added to the end of the previous data and the file object will be at the end of the file. After opening the file, we can make the use of the methods to write the data, such as write for writing a single string, and write line for writing a sequence of strings. So if you want to write only one string, you can make the use of write function. If you want to write multiple strings or sequence of strings, then you can make the use of function write line. Write method takes the string as an argument and write it to the text file. It returns the number of characters being written on the single execution of the write method. Also, we need to add a new line character at the end of every sentence to mark the end of the line. So for example, on the Python prompt, if I type my object, this is my variable, which is equal to open in the bracket. This is the first file, file1.txt, and the file mode is W. That is, I am opening this file in the write mode. And then I write my object.write, and suppose I write a string, first file in the Python, and to indicate the end of line, I will write \n, and then I will close the string. So you will find that when this statement is executed by the Python interpreter, it will display 21. So this 21 will correspond to the number of characters that are written in the file. And then you can close the file, myObject.close. So you will find that if you check whether the file is being created in the current directory, you will find that this file will be created. And if you open it by using the text editor, then the content of the file will be displayed on the screen. Now let us understand how to read from a file. Suppose the file is already created and you want to read the content of the file. Then the content of the file can be read by using the file mode R, R+, W+, or A+. So there are different options available. You can use the suitable one. This method is used to read a specified number of bytes from the data file. And the syntax for the read method is file object.read, and then you can specify n, where n will stand for the number of bytes that you want to read from the file. If no argument or negative argument or negative number is being specified in the read, then the entire file content will be read by using this function. So for example, if I write my object is equal to open file1.txt, which is already created by us, and now suppose we want to read it, therefore I will write the read mode R. My object.read 10, so I want to read the first 10 bytes. So you will find that only the first 10 bytes will be displayed on the screen, first 5, and then I can close the file. If I do not specify the number of bytes to be read, then in that case, you will find that the complete content of the file, that is the first file in the Python, will be printed on the screen, and then you can close the file. So thank you friends for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood what we mean by file and how to open a file for reading and writing purpose by using the Python program. Thank you all.